This week on Painting Lines.
We get to see Fonseca on grass.
As soon as you start kind of getting back some faith in him, he just drops off a cliff.
Low key, I'm taking Bublik as a dark horse.
Ready?
Welcome back to another episode of Painting Lines. Last week we recapped that epic Roland Garros final, and this week get your lawn mowers ready because we are officially kicking off the grass season with Stuttgart and Hertogenbosch wrapping up yesterday, and then we got Queens Club and Halle kicking off today. So we'll do a little preview of those at the end. But first, some exciting news. We're going to be soft launching some merch in the next week or two, so be on the lookout for that. Also, feel free to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the show. Now, let's get into it. All right, Aiden, even though both tournaments are ATP 250s, is it me or did Stuttgart just feel like a much bigger deal? I mean, you had Fritz and Zverev in the Stuttgart final, and then Diallo and Bergs in the other, which both of those guys were playing for their first title.
Yeah, I think there are a couple factors that had to do with that, which is Zverev. Obviously, it's kind of a home tournament. It's in Germany, so that probably intrigued him, probably enticed him to play in that. And then on the other hand, it is the Boss Open, right? And so I would assume there's probably a almost incentive or requirement for Fritz to play in it because he is sponsored by Boss. So I think that's why you got two top 10 guys there. I think without those factors, they probably wouldn't have played in this tournament. And because you have these higher level guys, it makes it feel like a bigger tournament than the other one.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely felt that with Stuttgart. So I was looking into the prize money to see maybe if Stuttgart like offered a lot more, if that's what the draw was, but it's really only like 50,000 euros more. So honestly, just a good opportunity for some lower ranked guys in Hertogenbosch to get out there and compete for a title because the
Yeah.
competition wasn't as good.
Yeah, that was what my assumption was going to be too, but I guess not.
Yeah, but let's kick it off with Stuttgart. We got Fritz winning his first title of the year, which I was pretty surprised when I heard that stat, especially after last year finalist US Open. But this is his fourth title on grass, so kind of safe to say he's a grass specialist at this point.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I guess uh, when you consider how little of the year grass is, right? It's like only a tenth of the season. And the fact that he has almost half of his nine titles total, four on grass, that means obviously almost half of them are on grass. That's a pretty big distinction between it being a tenth of the year and half of his titles coming on it.
Oh yeah, big time. And not only did he win the finals here, but he dominated the whole tournament. I mean, he didn't drop a single set and he held every single service game.
Yeah, that's insane. I think not dropping a set has been done many times, but holding every single service game is pretty wild to do that throughout a whole tournament.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty good to see Fritz back out here kind of playing like we know he can, especially after a pretty subpar clay season. Looks like he can be a big contender at Wimbledon, especially after this.
Yeah, I mean, subpar. I don't know if that's the right word because I don't know what his par is, right? I
Yeah,
feel
I guess
like
that's a good point.
it's more like just he didn't outperform at all during the clay season. He kind of just played poorly, which was a little bit of what we expected. And yeah, it definitely is a positive step though going into Wimbledon, seeing him get a title here and get back in the win column.
Yeah, not only a big win for him, but a huge win for Boss, right? I mean, how awesome is that that their guy, they're the ones they sponsor actually wins the tournament. I feel like they maybe sponsor like two guys, Berrettini and Fritz, and it just so happened one of them wins it.
100%. Yeah. They get like they have all these pictures of the boss open in the background and then the players also wearing the boss shirt and
Yeah, I'm sure.
headband.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure you got a nice little incentive check there too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
All right, I think it's pretty safe to say at this point that Fritz owns Zverev. I mean, he's got an 8-5 head-to-head record against him, but he's won the last five matchups. And it was really funny because I saw a meme on social media of like Fritz with a dog leash on Zverev, basically walking him. And it was just so disrespectful to see that. But it's pretty funny too, because Zverev even knows kind of like what's going on because after the match, he joked around and said, "Taylor, I'm fucking tired of you. Please stay away from me."
Yeah. I mean, then again, I feel like he's kind of tired of everyone that's good right now because if you look at his season so far, he only has one top 10 win in 2025, and it was over Djokovic, who retired in one set at the Australian Open. So realistically, he hasn't actually beaten any great players this year. So I think that he just has been having a great season, and Fritz is capitalizing on that. Also, yeah, I do agree. You got to say it's definitely a favored Fritz matchup now because yeah, it's like the Medvedev versus Sinner matchup, right? It's like yes, their head to head is relatively close still, but if you look at their last whatever it is, 8 matchups, I think Medvedev's won one. He won at Wimbledon last year, and other than that, it's like all Sinner.
Yeah, that's funny. I thought we were going to see a good rivalry with these two, especially after Fritz's girlfriend was making those pretty obscene, I guess, gestures to Zverev during the match, and then after the match, Zverev was in the press conference just kind of going off about how Fritz's girlfriend showed a very much a lack of, tennis etiquette in the audience, and I don't think Fritz really like took it to heart, but at least that kind of had the perfect ingredients for a rivalry brewing, but very one-sided here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that whenever Zverev gets into the media, it's always gonna end pretty poorly for him. It seems like.
Then next up on the docket, let's switch over to Justin Engel having a breakout here in this tournament. He is a 17-year-old German, makes it to the quarterfinals, and he's the youngest person to do it since Boris Becker in 1985.
Yeah, that's really impressive. I feel like we're seeing that all over the place, right? I mean, who is the guy that beat like Denis Shapovalov a couple weeks ago? He was really young, so we're seeing a lot of guys that are kind of like creeping onto the scene. It feels like.
Yeah, you're talking about the kid. I think Shapo retired and then
Yeah,
he like went ballistic,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
I think he was also German
Yeah,
as
but he was like
well, which is
15 or
funny.
something like that, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. He like drew a huge heart on the court. But anyway, other than Zverev, I feel like there's really no Germans, like German players in the pipeline. So do you think we're potentially looking at a top 10, top 20 German player, or still a little too early to tell?
I feel like the end there's got to be too early to tell, right? Like 17 years old. It's not like he has exploded onto the scene like Runa did when he won in Paris, or like Alcaraz maybe when he won in Madrid. This guy's still very early on. He's gotten a couple wins at these tournaments, but saying top 10 feels very premature, I feel like.
Yeah, it's one of those correlation is not equal causation. Like just because Boris Becker did it in 85 doesn't mean Justin Engel's going to do it
Yeah,
anytime
doesn't mean
soon.
he's going to be the next
Yeah,
Boris
yeah,
Becker.
right. But people love to draw conclusions.
Yeah.
Then we got a pair of good runs here from Shelton and FAA. Both of them made it to the semis. I was pretty shocked about the FAA run, especially since I had him losing second round to GMP. And then Shelton, not so surprised. I mean, his game translates pretty well to grass.
Yeah, and I feel like Shelton has been playing pretty solid overall this year. FAA is just the inconsistency. It feels as though with FAA, every single time you expect him to do poorly, he overperforms. And then as soon as you start kind of getting back some faith in him, you're like, oh, FAA's been playing solid so far. That's kind of how I was feeling at the beginning of the year, right? And then all of a sudden he just drops off a cliff. So it's really tough to predict what FAA is going to do.
Yeah, he's the epitome of under promise and over deliver.
Exactly, exactly.
All right, let's switch gears here and move over to Hertogenbosch. We got Diallo winning his first ATP title. He is the first Canadian to win a grass title this century, which pretty insane. I mean, what is that? What do you think that says though about Shapovalov and FAA? I mean, just that
I
they're not good grass players.
I think it's doesn't say that much. I think it's more that Diallo just happened to be right place, right time. Not to take away from him, like obviously played very well, but I would say that Shapovalov's semifinal run at Wimbledon is probably more impressive than getting a grass title here. Uh, I think any player on the tour would probably trade those, to be honest. But overall, I think it's a great accomplishment from Diallo still, and yeah, I think it maybe is a promising sign for him in the future on grass.
Yeah, asking you that question made me think of something else. So Deminar has not won a Masters 1000 title, right?
I do not believe so. I think he's played in the
Because I
final a few times.
yeah, I think I asked you this also when Poprin won the Masters 1000 title that he did. I was like, oh, does that mean, what does that mean for Deminar, the other Aussies? It's like someone who's technically not as good as them got the first feat or like the first title, I would say. Like in this case, it's grass. In the Australian case, it's a Masters 1000.
Yeah, I mean, I think in both cases, part of it is getting a good opportunity set up for you, but also it's like sometimes players just overperform. Popperin, based on what we've seen after that, Popperin just overperformed in that tournament, and that's not to take anything away from him. Like I'm not saying he is a bad player. He just played like outside of himself in that tournament to win that Masters 1000 title, and he has not been able to recreate that in the rest of his seasons so far. So I still think that Deminar is definitely the better player. It's just that sometimes guys get it done, and that's what happened with Diallo here. That's what happened with Popper in Canada.
Yeah, what's crazy about this Diallo win here is he could have easily been out of the tournament second round. Like he had to save a couple match points from Thompson. Just kind of crazy the way things work out. And then I would say his two most impressive wins this run were against Hachinov and Humbert, which were, I think, top five seeded guys. So it's not like he had an easy route to the final. Like he still put up a really good fight.
Yeah, no, he definitely just played very well, I think, this week.
And then Opelka, he beat Medvedev 7-6, 7-6. And this one's funny because it turns out that Opelka was the lucky loser, and I didn't realize until after the fact. I'm pretty shocked at this result that Opelka beat Medvedev, especially with Medvedev's, defensive playing style. But what about you?
I mean, I think it's just kind of a day on his day when Opelka's hitting his serve well. It's pretty tough to beat him, and that's how he won this match very clearly. Right, two tie breaks just shows that Medvedev couldn't break his serve, and so Opelka could just rely on that, and it carried him to the win.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because I was watching the highlights, and on some, Opelka wouldn't even run to some of Medvedev's balls. Like I feel like he was just thinking, all right, my serve is on today. Like I just need to hold it, and I'm good. Yeah,
Exactly.
like it must be nice to just kind of play the rest of the game. It's like, oh, I'll just serve it out.
Yeah, I'll just serve it out, and like if he like randomly gives me two easy points and I'm up 30 love, then maybe I'll try for to complete the break.
Yep. All right, well, that about wraps up Stuttgart and Hertogenbosch. Now let's get into the Queen's Club preview. So, unfortunately, Tommy Paul is unable to defend his title. He is not playing it this year. He suffered an abdominal injury in Roland Garros, so he's still healing that up. But I want to talk to you about Fritz and his dominant week in Stuttgart. Like, do you think that he may have a better chance here than, say, Alcaraz, or do you think Alcaraz is still the overwhelming favorite?
I still got to go completely on Alcaraz's side here. I mean, you look at how he's been playing this year, just comes off winning in Roland Garros and is a former champion at Queen's Club too. So I feel like he's excited to be back, excited to be on grass, which has been his best surface in terms of slam wins. He's looking to be a three-time defending champion at Wimbledon, and he wants to start off his grass season right. I think so. I feel like he's definitely the favorite there.
Yeah, you still haven't seen the Netflix doc on him, right?
I have not. No.
So funny. One of my favorite scenes is like he's telling his coach and his manager that he's going to go to Ibiza, that he feels burnt out after Roland Garros. They're like, do not go to Ibiza. Do not go to Ibiza. He's like, I'm going to Ibiza. Ibiza. I went to Ibiza and then I won Queens a week later.
He's like,
So
yeah,
he's like,
I had
yeah,
to relax for a little bit.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Hopefully he got to have some good downtime too after that epic, epic match.
100%. Yeah.
So while I do think that Alcaraz is kind of the overwhelming favorite here, you can't count out Deminar and Draper, especially because Draper won Stuttgart last year, and then Deminar won Hertogenbosch. So they're both very capable grass players. I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah. And then, like you said, Fritz as well, also a threat.
Yep, Fritz also a threat, but you know who's not a threat? Any South Americans. I was looking at the draw, and there's only one, the Argentine Ugo. So
Yeah, not super surprising to see that. I mean, given the fact that I feel like they're known for being the dominant ones on clay and not necessarily in other surfaces, but yeah, kind of funny to see that it's that extreme. I'd say that only one player is in this tournament.
yeah, they basically go MIA for the next 3 weeks. But let's talk about the top seeds here. So we got Alcaraz, Fritz, Draper, Rune.
Wow, it's surprising that Rune is actually higher rated than Deminar.
Yeah, that's a good point. So are you taking? I was gonna ask you if you're taking this or the field for
Yeah, I
for
don't
the
know.
winner.
I'd say this for the winner because
I think this. I
I
think
think
this.
my top two probably be. Ooh, yeah, I mean those top three I think could all take it. I think Alcaraz is definitely the favorite, but I could see it going to Draper or Fritz. Runa I think would be the dark horse of those four for sure.
Definitely. And then one last thing I want to mention on Queen's Club is Tiafo is already out after his big run at Roland Garros. I think it must have been that Dan Evans' home court advantage. Crowd must have got to his head.
Yeah, I mean I think also just the he doesn't have as extreme of a serve based game. I feel like as Fritz does, and without that tool in there, it's a lot harder for the Americans to do well in grass, I think.
Yeah, well, it's also just classic Tiafo, right? I mean, making a quarterfinal and a Grand Slam and then losing first round next week.
Yeah, to like a guy ranked well below him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of it is kind of classic
I'm pretty sure
Tiafo feels
Dan
like.
Evans is only in the tournament because
Yeah,
he
he's
got a
like a
wild
wild
card.
card. Yeah, exactly. Something crazy.
All right, anyway, let's move on over to Hal. We get to see Joao Fonseca on grass. This is exciting. What are your expectations for him?
I have no idea. I haven't seen him play on grass really. So we'll see what that looks like. His game is going to be explosive. I'll say that. He hits the crap out of the ball. So that will not be fun for whoever's trying to get that 120 mile an hour forehand off of a skip on grass. But I don't know how his movement's gonna translate.
Yeah, this will be fun to see. And then we got a little more South Americans in this tournament. We got Echeverry, Cerundolo, and then of course Fonseca. But let's look at the top seeds in this tournament. We got one Sinner, then Zverev, Medvedev, and Rublev. Are you taking the field here or are you taking the top four?
I'm taking center. I'm taking the top one.
Oh
that's
boy,
what
yeah, all
my
right,
feeling
Sinner,
is.
Sinner or the field.
Center of the field. I just said it. I think center is
All
going to win
right.
the tournament. So
So low key, I'm taking Bublik as a dark horse. Maybe not to win, but definitely make a run.
yeah, I mean he's done well in the past. I think he won in maybe Stuttgart a couple years ago, something like that. He won a grass tournament that was surprising. I remember him beating I think Rublev in the final. So yeah, he's done decent on grass in the past.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, alrighty. I think that wraps it all up. So you ready to hop into segments here?
Yep, let's do it.
Hey guys, before we jump in, we have some exciting news. We recently partnered with TruePro. They're a great place to buy strings, grips, and tennis apparel. Use discount code Painting Lines, that's one word, for 20% off store wide. You can find the link in our bio.
Sounds good. What's new in tennis? What did you see this week?
I saw something pretty funny. I saw some more Mute drama, but this
Ah,
time he was,
classic.
yeah, classic, right? He's gonna be my what's new in tennis every time something happens because this is just hysterical. So, like I said, he was not the one engaging in it, he was the one receiving it. So, Fognini totally lights him up after their match at the net. He calls him a piece of shit and then he called him a pig, which I think is a French slur, right? Like a French pig.
I have no idea.
I could be wrong, I don't know, but I couldn't really tell what Mute did to garner that type of abuse after the match. I mean, I watched the highlights. I was reading Reddit subthreads. It looked like he just did a couple underarm serves and then just kind of played, his cheeky little slice and drop shot game. But either way, Fanini was trying to get a reaction out of him because after all that, he's like, look at me, and kept saying it to him.
Yeah, I feel like Fognini's the perfect guy. Fognini known for having some big reactions on the court and not necessarily being the most calm guy out there. So kind of funny that it was him that Mutet got to this time.
Yeah, he got in a fight with Murray, right? Do you
Yeah,
remember that?
is he the one where Murray was like, "Shut up"?
I think so. But
Yeah,
someone pointed out in the comments of the video was I love how Andy Murray liked this post.
yeah, exactly.
It's so ironic. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, just hilarious about Fanini doing that, but also hats off to Mute for not reacting.
100%. I
Just
mean, you're right. He is maturing a little bit. Obviously, Indian Wells, he really struggled with staying calm, and this
oh
time
yeah.
he was
Oh
able to.
yeah. And then the Phoenix Open too. Remember he and Bublik were going at it.
Yeah,
Bublik Bublik was about to serve. Mute's like, I'm not ready. Bublik's like, I don't give a shit.
yeah. Who cares if you're
So
ready or not? I am.
yeah,
You have to go based on my pace. I'm serving.
yeah, yeah. How about you? What did you see this week?
I saw an interesting kind of ranking stat. So it's the first time since 2006 that there are three Americans in the top 10. We got number 4 Fritz, number 8 Paul, number 10 Shelton, and actually just outside the top 10 Tiafo. So that's really cool to see. Fortunately, since Paul is not defending his Queens Club, he is going to fall out of the top 10, but still cool to see. And I wanted to ask you, Eric, who you think it was last time in 2006 when there were three Americans in the top 10.
Ooh, let's see. We got Roddick,
Roddick, yeah, he was the highest ranked one, I believe, number 4 or 5, but I don't remember the exact ranking.
Marty Fish.
No, not Marty Fish.
It wasn't Agassi, was it?
Agassi was number 10. He was the third one.
What?
There
Because
was
he retired in 2006,
yeah,
didn't he?
because he had like some big performances in his last year. Yeah,
Wow, okay. And then a little too early for Isner and Query, right?
yeah. There's a
Oh,
guy that's
James
like,
Blake, James
yep,
Blake.
exactly. I was gonna
Let's
say he's kind
go.
of forgotten as a great
Yeah,
American player, but he was actually number 7 at that point.
nice. Wow. Okay. Well, you know what I have to say about that? USA, USA.
Yeah, I'm actually really impressed that you're able to get that one though.
Yeah, thank you.
But how about bet of the week here? What'd you go with here?
Bet of the week. I'm going with a big parlay. I'm taking Deminar over Lehechka, Draper over Brooksby, Opelka over Ugo, and Fritz over Mute. And all that is for plus 114.
That's an aggressive bet. I mean, like,
Yeah,
yeah, no, I agree that these guys are all favored, but going all four of them is just so risky.
I know. I think before I had the Deminar over Lehechka, it was still pretty negative. Like the Deminar
Jeez.
Lehechka one is the closest,
Yeah,
which
it's a bold bet. I respect it, but it's definitely a bold one.
yeah. I mean, what about you? Who are you taking?
I'm going taking a page out of your book from last week. Obviously didn't pay off last week, but I'm still going to go with GMP plus 140 over Nakashima. They've never played each other, but I feel like you still have to back GMP here with that serve. He played well in grass last year. Just feel like it's going to be tough to deal with, so I'm taking him here.
Yeah, I'm over fucking GMP. I'm done betting on him.
Yeah, he just always screws you over.
Yeah, he's been letting me down here, but hopefully he gets you here. I mean, like you
Yeah,
said, I like his serve on grass, but I don't know. Nakashima's pretty good on grass too, so this will be close.
yeah. How about match of the week?
Oh, I got a good one. I got Zverev beating Shelton in the semis. So this was a two-setter, but it had two tie breaks. First set breaker was very back and forth. Zverev ended up sealing it on an ace, won 10-8, then let out a huge, just massive roar at the end. You could see it really got to him. And then the second set tiebreaker was pretty much one-way traffic. Zverev got it done 7-1. Kind of reminded me of the Alcaraz tiebreaker in the Roland Garros final. Just took care of business and he sealed the matchup. And then after that, he played it super calm and cool, didn't show any emotion, unlike the first set. So I thought that was pretty cool just to see like the contrasting, first set super tight, going the distance, all the emotion just coming out, and then second set, not so much, 7-1, got him pretty good. So just was able to collect everything there. But honestly, this match could have gone either way. I mean, it's just very uncharacteristic for Zverev to clutch up and get a big win here, but maybe that's because it's not in a Grand Slam.
Yeah, it's not in a final
y-
either, right?
yeah, it's not in a final, but either way, just, massive hitting from both these guys, big serves, big ground strokes, very entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the clutchness, right? I mean, we saw the next match he had, right, was like the opposite of clutch, just underperformed against Fritz, right? Or not necessarily
Yeah.
underperformed, just didn't get it done in those close sets.
Yeah, I know. I mean, just poor guy. I'm starting to feel for him. Like he is truly so good. He just can't really like take it to the next level.
Yeah,
Which like
100%.
the level he's at is already way better than, most people who have ever played this game.
100%. I mean, he's probably, if he never wins a slam, he will probably be the best player that never won a Grand Slam. But yeah, I mean, when you go into a tiebreak to save the final against Fritz there and lose it 7-0, it just doesn't show a lot of
Uh,
positive momentum for your clutchness, I'd say.
right, right. How about you? What was your match of the week?
I'm taking Diallo, this match you talked about earlier, surviving against Thompson. Obviously, split the first two sets, and then he faced match points in that third set and managed to survive, make a comeback win. And I was really impressed just to see that a guy that's not super young, but definitely more experienced or inexperienced on the tour was able to pull this off. And then it kind of brings me to a question as well, is like, do you think that him winning a match like this actually helped with the rest of his run? Because rather than playing with like, oh, okay, this is the furthest I've ever gotten, I'm feeling stressed about this, now all of a sudden it's almost like you're playing on borrowed time. He's like, oh, I could have been out 3 rounds ago, but instead I'm in this match and I'm not even expected to be here, so it doesn't matter if I lose.
I totally think so. I think that's a great point. Like you said, he's playing with the house's money. I feel like he can just play more free, more loose. I think it definitely had a factor.
All right, and that's the show. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Painting Lines Podcast. Feel free to shoot us a DM or email us any questions or thoughts at paintinglinespodcast@gmail.com.